Welcome to double loaf pan baking. Um, just finished shaping my dough. As you can see, I have no seams up. All the seams are underneath because we're gonna bake it in the pan that we're proofing it in. So you can see I just have 9x5 loaf pans. You do want to make sure that your loaf pans, at least you have two of each, so that they do match, because it's important, because when you invert that other pan on top of this pan, you want to make sure that the sides line up, all the corners line up, because this is what's going to trap your steam inside your pans to emulate Dutch oven baking or using an open bake method with steam in the bottom. So with this, I'm just going to go ahead and put my plastic covers over my loaves, over my pans, and I'm going to put these in the fridge to proof, just like I would for a normal, loaf that I would be putting into a banana tin. I'm going to go ahead and proof it the same way and use the same test, floured finger, poke it in. If it comes back partially, slowly, you're ready. If it bounces back right away, give it some more time. But we will be back probably in about 12 hours to go ahead and bake these. So we are about to do our double loaf pan baking method for sourdough. These are the loaves that I had set up to go ahead and do their final cold proofing. One thing to note, as with any sourdough, once you shape it, you do have the alternative to just do some ambient proofing with it, an hour or two at room temperature. If you want to bake same day, the only thing you're going to lose potentially is a little bit of the sour flavor, because the cold proofing actually is part of what builds up that flavor. So these have cold proofed. So what I am doing, I have also, as you can see, I do have some of the same pans. I've got 3 more to put on these when we're ready to put those in the oven. I have preheated the oven to 475 for about 45 minutes. Again, you want to have a good heat source. So let me go ahead and get my water spritzer, because again, we are using this method to lock that steam in with the lid or the pan we're gonna put over top. So I am just going to get this ready. I have my water spritzer. So I'm just going to spritz these a couple of times. And I'm getting my lawn ready. So I'm just gonna do some simple scoring on these loaves, because unlike with the other types of baking that we do, where you can go in after 8 or 10 minutes and do some scoring, these you do not do that. You really don't have that option. I apologize for putting my arm in front of the camera, but because once you open that lid, you're gonna lose all of your steam. So we don't wanna do that, because we really can't gain that back. So I'm just gonna typically do some simple scoring on these. You can actually even do, your wheat stock. And you do have the option, you can put this in the freezer really quickly for about 10-15 minutes before baking. So I just did not do that with these, but that's always an option. So now that I have spritzed these, I have scored them, I'm simply just going to put the lids on. And some people will use the metal clips to clip these in place. I've never had a problem getting these to stay on when I put them in the oven. So if you do, then, definitely use some of the metal clips to put those on. You may, if you have bigger loaves, these are kind of small, so I didn't do it. But if you have bigger loaves, just go ahead and either, use a vegetable oil spray, or, oil that top pan. When I do have to do that, when I have some bigger loaves in here, then I usually will put a cookie sheet underneath my pans when I put them in the oven, just so I don't have that oozing, because these are not really wide-lipped pans, and they do sometimes tend to let that non-stick spray or the butter or whatever I'm using to oil this top pan, it will ooze down and get on the bottom of the stove, bottom of the oven, and nobody likes that. So this is, we're now ready to go into the oven. So let me shift over and show you what the oven looks like. Okay, in the oven, I actually have moved my rack up to the third, I think the fourth from the bottom. Let's double check. 1, 2, yes, it is the fourth from the bottom, third from the top. Only because you do have the option, if you have lots of loaves that you want to cook, bake, using this method, you can actually use both racks. Of course, you'll have to move them around so to prevent the burning or over browning of the bottoms. But we're ready to go into the oven. So I am going to move my pans over to the stove top so that they're closer. So now let's just go ahead and open the oven door, slide these in. Again, these line up pretty well. I've never had any problem with steam escaping. So I do not do anything special as far as clipping them in place. Just slide it into place. Having a little more difficult time because of the camera and not wanting to block your view, but I'm just going to slide these into place. And then I am going to set a timer for 25 minutes. So today this one's going to give me a little fit. Okay, we are good to go. We're going to set a timer for 25 minutes, and I will see you in 25 minutes. So we're nearing our 25-minute mark. So I'm going to get my long gloves out and get ready to remove the lids. And you can, at that time, move the pans around. So let's go ahead and get this out and see how it's done. Again, this is going to be really warm, so make sure you're protecting yourself from the heat. And let's just go ahead and remove these top lids. Again, this is normally a little easier when I'm not trying to block the camera. So I'm just removing those lids. And you can see I did have 3 different sizes of loaves in here, so, and that's fine. So these look really good, and we're just gonna go ahead and close that oven door and set a timer for about 20 more minutes. Okay, our bread is done. So I'm going to pull these out of the oven very quickly. You want to make sure that you do get to your internal temp of 205. Very hot. As you can see, these are beautifully browned. I'm just going to pull these out now. And let's just double check the temp. Yep, we're actually above 205, which is no problem, no foul. So let me stop for a second and I will show you what they look like. Okay, so here is our first loaf. I do use these loaf pan liners, which makes them a little easier to get out of the pans. So let's just go ahead and get all of these out. So here we have some beautiful double loaf pan baked loaves of bread. As you can tell, it's a very simple baking method, gives you great results, not a lot of attention needed during the baking process. So, as you can see, this makes it very easy. Great bottoms. So there you have it. So our bread has cooled a couple of hours, so let's slice in and see what we have. Look at that. Look at that. Nice and soft sandwich bread. So we have some wonderful bread for the week.